Hello, and welcome to the weekly energy update for the week of May 4th, 2025. I'm Renee Spears, a spirit guide channeler and spiritual mentor, and I'm coming to you from beautiful Bozeman, Montana. Every Sunday, I share the energy for the week ahead, and I also infuse the show with some positive vibes, so you get a little positive energy boost just for listening. And happy May! Man, this year is flying by. Now, May has a different energy than the months before it, which is a welcome change. I mentioned last week that we're in completely new territory. The planets have never been where they are now in our lifetime. And we're still in the lovely grounded energy of Taurus season as we start May. And this helps us slow down, savor life's little luxuries, and get our footing before we move forward later this month. And after having 0 major planets in retrograde since April 12th, today the spell is broken with Pluto stationing retrograde in Aquarius. Now, you may remember that for months, maybe even years, I talked about Pluto moving into Aquarius, which happened last November. And I talked about it so much because it was such a big deal. This is one of the most significant transits of our lifetime. The last time Pluto was in Aquarius was in the late 1700s at the time of the American and French revolutions. That was also when we saw the rise of democracy and human rights and scientific advancements. And just like then, we're in a time of deep social upheaval when outdated systems are busted up, and at the same time, we're also undergoing a spiritual and identity transformation. Like, the changes are seismic, and absolutely nothing feels certain or stable right now. That's the energy of Pluto in Aquarius. And now, Pluto's going retrograde. The good news is that Pluto spends about 6 months of the year in retrograde, so we're kind of used to this energy. And Pluto retrograde is a subtle energy, and it works on our deepest layers. So for the next 6 months until October, we're going to be reflecting on the Pluto and Aquarius transformations. The outer world stuff, like democracy and human rights and scientific innovations, and the inner world stuff. Our spirituality and identity are being transformed. So you can think of Pluto retrograde as a time when we're sorting through and rethinking all kinds of important stuff. Now, your first thought may be, holy shit, this sounds like a lot, and it is, but it's also a blessing in disguise. Aquarius is a very healing energy, and we could definitely use some healing right now. And we're in this reflective, healing, get our shit together energy the entire summer, as all the planets change signs and things continue to shift. Like, we're rethinking everything. Our systems and structures, our technology, like hello AI, our communities and how we treat each other, how we treat ourselves, and especially our spirituality and authenticity. This May also, the planets start moving. So next Saturday, May 10th, Mercury moves into Taurus. Now, Mercury moves a lot, so it'll be changing signs a few times this year. But the next 2 weeks while it's in Taurus are a great time to plan and get organized and do anything that requires patience and attention to detail. And then a couple days after Mercury moves into Taurus, on Monday the 12th, is a full moon in Scorpio, and it is not here to play. Now, remember that we're in the year of the snake, when we're shedding our skin over and over. This full moon is like shedding layers of skin. Think secrets being exposed, deep soul searching, letting go of identities that no longer fit, maybe lots of crying and release, and also some great sex. And then once Gemini season starts on May 20th, the mood lightens. Like, this is the last time for more than a decade that lucky, expansive Jupiter and the sun will be hanging out together in Gemini. This is a lovely, 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 abundant time when we can think bigger. Gemini season gives us permission to just be playful and have fun. And we need it, because what comes next is legendary. On May 24th, we experience a milestone event of 2025, which is when Saturn moves into Aries. Like, this is a game changer. This is the first time in 29 years that Saturn will be in Aries. Now you're starting to understand why this is completely new territory. Pluto is in Aquarius for the first time in 250 years, and now it's retrograde. And Saturn is moving into Aries for the first time in 29 years, and it's joining Neptune, who is also currently in Aries for the first time in 160 years. Brand new territory. Everything is new this summer. And on the 24th, when Saturn, the planet of discipline and structure, leaves foggy Pisces, where it's been for the last 2 years, and enters Aries, the sign of fire and action, we wake up and we are on fire. This is like a cosmic Red Bull. Because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, we'll be starting something new. Saturn spends about 2.5 years in each sign, so the last time it was in Aries, like I said, was about 29 years ago. So if you want to understand more what to expect with Saturn and Aries, you can think back to what was happening in your life at that time, 29 years ago. So 29 years ago, my husband Larry died, and I had a spiritual awakening. And I feel the next level of this awakening coming. I've been preparing for it for the last few months with the Michael Beckwith and the Abraham Hicks Wisdom Circles and the Shift to Abundance and Quantum Leap Forward classes. So I'm excited for what's next. I think one of the great things about getting older is that you start to see the patterns in your life repeat, and you kind of know a little bit about what to expect, although this will be a little bit new and different. And just when we think we can't take any more change, Mercury moves again and enters Gemini on the 25th. Mercury loves being here. It's at home, it's buzzing with ideas, laughter, and travel. And then a day later on the 26th, the new moon in Gemini joins the party. This is one of the best new moons of the year and a perfect way to close out the month. And it gives us a little sneak peek of Uranus and Gemini coming later this summer, which is a reminder that the universe is so incredibly wonderful, and we could use that reminder right about now. So this week, with the planets moving, the next chapter of change starts. With Pluto going retrograde, we're doing a lot of reflection about ourselves, the people we want to be, and what kind of society we want to live in. We get some help organizing and planning when Mercury moves into Taurus. And this leads up to that spicy full moon in Scorpio next week. So overall, this May, we get some fresh perspective and start looking at things a new way. And there are lots of opportunity for a rebirth. So as we move into this brand new territory, remember we were made for this moment. We chose to be here now during this once-in-a-lifetime reboot, not to just survive it, but to evolve with it. So let the grounded energy of Taurus anchor you. Let Pluto retrograde help you release what no longer fits. And let the energy of May remind you that the future isn't something we wait for. It's something we create. The world is shifting, yes, but so are we. And we're ready for it. So trust this incredible, wonderful timing. Trust yourself. And let this be the month where everything begins to click into place. Like you've got this. The universe has you. So as always, thank you for listening. I am working on my Abundology summer pass this afternoon. My annual pass has been such a hit that I decided to offer a summer pass too. It includes 3 hours of sessions and spiritual summer school for only $300. Like, this is a super fucking great deal. And of all the things I've created over the past 6 years, spiritual summer school has been the best. And Spiritual Summer School is this July, and it meets 3 times a week with tons of guests. This year it's featuring astrology, Akashic records, human design, numerology, a bath ritual, and I'm going to do a condensed version of my Quantum Leap Forward classes too. It's fantastic, and you'll be hearing more about it next month, but the summer pass will go on sale this week. So have a wonderful day, everyone, and I will be back next week to talk about that spicy full moon in Scorpio.